If you watched our first video on the moral philosophies of clone commanders, we hope you didn't think we'd stop after talking about only 3 clones. On the contrary, we have 3 more clones to talk about tonight. This time, 3 with wildly different mindsets. You couldn't find 2 clones more different from one another than the fiercely independent Captain Rex, the absolute simp Commander Faie, and the apathetic Commander Neyo. In this video, we'll be discussing the moral perspectives of these 3 very unique clones.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
First up, we have the fan favorite, Ct.2, more commonly known as Captain Rex. Rex was one of the most independent clone officers in the Grand Army of the Republic, making him a good match for Anakin Skywalker, his Jedi General. Officially, he was the leader of the Torrent Company, but under Skywalker, he had authority over the whole 501st Legion, despite not being a clone commander. This owed to his effectiveness as an officer, something that came from his fierce dedication to justice and doing the right thing. Rex was so independent that, in the past, we've speculated he was actually a defective clone the Kaminoans didn't catch. He followed his orders but wasn't afraid to skirt authority if he thought his orders were wrong. He sometimes hesitated to directly disobey his superiors, but this faded as the Clone Wars dragged on, and by the end of it all, Rex only followed orders when he deemed them worthy of following. He was a man who listened to his conscience more than anyone else, superiors and subordinates alike. Rex only ever did what he believed to be morally righteous, contrary to a certain someone we'll be discussing later. Now, most people only do what they think is right, but Rex's case is notable because to him, what was right sometimes differed from what he was ordered to do. This was a rarity among clones, and it's why Rex was considered independent. Rex truly believed in the Republic. He saw it as the embodiment of justice and civilization, like virtually all clones and even many Jedi did. But his belief in the Republic didn't translate into blind legalism or seeing orders as sacrosanct. While Rex loved the Republic as a general concept, he didn't believe it to be infallible, nor did he believe every single order he was given was justified by virtue of being an order. The primary driver in Rex's moral philosophy was what he believed the Republic represented, the virtues of justice and galactic stability. But unlike most clones, Rex had a solid concept of what justice was. Rex's form of justice wasn't just ensuring the survival of the Republic government, but ensuring the well-being of the galactic civilian populace. He fought because he truly believed he was protecting innocent lives, and when he saw innocent lives endangered, he tried his best to help them regardless of his orders. In short, Rex's morals were the morals of a Jedi Knight. Next up, we have Rex's polar opposite, the soulless living droid known as Commander Faie. Faie was the personification of that old NPC meme. All he lived for was to follow the Kaminoans' programming. He led an elite unit under General Oppo Rencesis, the famous Jedi Battlemaster, and after Rencesis' death, he came under the command of Quinlan Vos. Vos and Faie couldn't have been more incompatible. Vos was even more impulsive and disdainful of orders than Anakin Skywalker, while Faie followed his orders to the letter. He lived for orders. In our last video, we briefly talked about the concept of legalism and how it applied to Commander Bakara. Faie went far beyond that. The man had no concept of self beyond what he had been bred for and no direction in life apart from orders and regulations. His loyalty to the Republic was so extreme that we're not even sure it can really be called loyalty. His devotion to Republic law was more like a complete psychological dependence. He was what the Kaminoans would have considered a perfect clone, and we do not consider that a compliment. It's unclear if Faie even had a concept of morality. Right and wrong weren't even really part of his vocabulary. He only knew legal and illegal, obedience and disobedience. He didn't follow his orders and dedicate himself to the Republic because he thought it was the right thing to do. He did it because it was the only thing he could even consider doing. He wasn't even fanatical about it either, just absurdly stubborn. Faie didn't seem to have an emotional stake in what he saw as his duty. He was fairly dispassionate about executing most orders. Personal loyalty, friendship, and trust were foreign concepts to Faie. During the rise of the Empire, when he was serving on Kashyyyk, He not only showed no hesitation in executing Jedi General Luminara Unduli, but he also didn't hesitate to betray the Wookiees when they got in the way of his orders. It didn't matter to him that Unduli and the Wookiees had fought alongside them or saved his life. If his orders were to betray them, he would do it without even the slightest compunction. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Commander Faie was that he didn't seem to have much of a sense of self. Sure, he had a name and all that, but he never displayed even a hint of self-preservation instinct and was borderline eager to kill himself for the Republic. We don't just mean that he was willing to charge into battle against bad odds either. In his final mission, a bid to capture the fugitive Quinlan Vos, he used himself as a bait in a trap set for the Jedi Master, threatening to call in an airstrike that would kill him, Vos, and all the inhabitants of a nearby Wookiee village. This wasn't a bluff, and Faie wouldn't have hesitated to blow himself up if it was the most effective means of carrying out his orders. That's kind of frightening, honestly. Last but not least, we have CC-8826, Commander Neyo. Neyo was the commander of the 91st Reconnaissance Corps, a role he seemed to have inherited from Commander Pons. Neyo was one of the most effective clone commanders in the Grand Army of the Republic. He worked with a number of Jedi generals, including Mace Windu Adi Gallia and, fatefully, Stas Ali. He was a tactical genius with a knack for flying speeder bikes, and he fought in many battles, the most notable being the Siege of Seleucami. For the most part, as far as we can tell, Commander Neyo was amoral. Not immoral, mind you, but generally unconcerned with morality. His amorality was much different from the apathy of Commander Cody or the NPC crap of Commander Faie, however. He had his opinions, and plenty of them, as well as some semblance of a personal philosophy. Morality just didn't factor into it. He let his superiors grapple with the right and the wrong. He was more concerned with doing his job and doing it well. Other clones saw Neyo as a bit of a sociopath. He was cold and unfeeling and a man of few words, preferring to keep to himself. He was friends with Commander Bakara and pretty much no one else, and he didn't have a problem with that. Neyo was also known to be a little bit intense, with a morbid personality that even other clones found off-putting. We imagine he'd be the sort of guy who'd crack an edgy joke at the most inappropriate time possible if he cared enough to open his mouth. As far as personal philosophy went, we can't say much about Neyo for certain, aside from the fact that he was staunchly loyal to the Republic. Based on his personality, he was probably a consequentialist of some sort, meaning he believed that whether an action was right or wrong depended on its consequences and nothing else. However, this is speculative on our part. Generally speaking though, Neyo greatly differed from both Rex, Faie, and indeed from most other clones. So that's our look at the moral philosophies of 3 more clone commanders. But what do you think? Would you like to see a video about 3 more? Let us know all that and more in the comment section below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.